over this weekend, we received an email from one of the brothers from the longest ballot committee.
After weeks of waiting for someone from the longest ballot committee to respond to our invitation to appear on the show, we finally got a reply. But it wasn't to join us on Northern Perspective. Instead, it was a demand to remove our videos, issue an apology, and stop covering them altogether.
Let's take a look. Here at Northern Perspective, we do our best to bring Canadians something that they don't get served enough, which is the truth. And we try and focus on things that the legacy media refuses to.
And we took particular interest in the longest ballot committee. We've been following them since the Toronto St. Paul's by-election, and they are signing up many candidates, in some cases close to 100, and in the upcoming by-election over 200. And they are creating these long ballots, like physically long ballots, which are difficult for many electors to cast their votes. So we have seniors, maybe people with disabilities, who are finding it difficult to manipulate these ballots, to find their candidates, to fold these ballots and put them in the ballot box, essentially to cast their votes. We believe that this is a problem for democracy, which is why we've taken such a special interest in this group.
Now, in one of our previous videos, we outlined some of the facts that one of the two brothers that actually heads up the longest ballot committee, Kieran, he actually was involved in a court challenge that he led by himself in order to fight against what he believed was a violation of his Charter 3 rights, which was the ability to actually run an election at a time where you had to post a $1,000 deposit in order to run. He won that challenge, and now that he's involved with the longest ballot committee, our argument is that the longest ballot committee is actually infringing the same charter right breach of electors trying to vote, because that's one of your fundamental rights as a Canadian, is to be able to vote without any hindrance whatsoever. The problem is this long ballot is causing such problems for everybody that it's actually frustrating some people when they're at the ballot box to the point where they're just leaving. So this is one of two brothers who felt it was important enough to go to court because he felt his charter rights were being breached, but they don't seem to have an issue impacting the rights of other people that are trying to exercise their vote.
And we believe here at Northern Perspective that democracy is the most important thing in this country, our right to vote, our right to participate in the democratic process. And when something is impeding it, we believe that that is of extreme public interest, which is why we focused on this story.
So when we see issues, we feel, as has been advised to us by parliamentarians, by members of CSIS, and people in the media that are respectable journalists, that the best disinfectant is to shine a light on it. So that's what we did. Then, over this weekend, we received an email from one of the brothers from the longest ballot committee. So the subject line was defamatory statements in YouTube videos published by you, from Kieran Shukewich. This came to us on Saturday at around 6:35 p.m. Now that's important. Just keep that in mind. So it says, August 9th, 2025. Dear Northern Perspective, I am writing to formally ask that you immediately remove and retract a series of videos published on your YouTube channel in which you falsely and maliciously imply that I committed criminal acts during the Toronto St. Paul's by-election in 2024. These statements are wholly false, defamatory, and have caused and continue to cause serious harm to my personal and professional reputation. They have also caused me significant distress. I am requesting that you remove all videos and any associated posts, including on other social media platforms, containing these allegations, publish a full and unequivocal retraction and apology by Monday, August 11th, 2025, provide written confirmation that you will refrain from publishing any further false statements about me. This was sent to us on a weekend. Now, what we've learned is if you are actually genuinely interested in getting somebody to pull something down off the internet or retract something, you need to give them a reasonable amount of time to do that. And sending this email on a Saturday evening, providing less than 48 hours to actually execute something like this, and without any opportunity to consult legal counsel, isn't what the courts would find, reasonable. So this was already raising some eyebrows from us. Number two, this didn't come from a lawyer. This came from Kieran himself. Now, it is well known that Kieran works as a legal assistant at a law firm, and who knows? We don't know whether he received assistance on this advice. We have no idea. It doesn't really matter at this point. But the point is he was trying to say that we were broadcasting to the world that he was a criminal. And we were pretty sure that that wasn't the case, and that's not what we were implying. We were showing evidence that they actually provided. Evidence like this letter, where it says Kieran, Thomas, and Glenn had a lot of fun collecting 100 nomination signatures for Toronto St. Paul's. This image of Kieran, Tom, and Glenn with those nomination forms, with those 100 signatures on them, where you can't really see the candidate name at the top. Text messages from Kieran to the whistleblower, where it says that they've collected enough signatures for 109 people. And evidence like this video, in Thomas's own words, telling everybody that they need people to sign up so they can actually get on the ballot because they already have the signatures for the people who have yet to sign up.
Hello, Tomas Jukevich here, official agent for the Longest Ballot Committee. There are already 50 confirmed candidates for the Montreal by-election. But there's only 1 week left until the close of nominations. If we're going to break the record for the longest ballot, we need everyone to sign up as soon as possible. We've already collected 100 nomination signatures for you. We need everyone to sign up. We've already collected 100 nomination signatures for you. We've already collected 100 nomination signatures for you. We need everyone to sign up as soon as possible.
Now, they keep saying, this is a campaign in order to push for electoral reform. This is a campaign to eliminate first past the post. This is a protest. Well, protests usually want attention. Protests usually want media coverage. Protests usually want to get your message out there.
Well, and you know the saying, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
That's the saying. So you would think that you'd be welcome any and all publicity. But some odd things started to happen after we put out the initial video detailing the history of the longest ballot, not even the whistleblower. I'm talking the first video where we break down the history and we go over that first case with Kieran. One of the people that we actually mentioned in there is actually involved with the Rhino Party, that is essentially a subset of the longest ballot, Donovan Ekstrom. And after we put out our video, this happened. So this is Donovan's Twitter account. And after we put out the video, he completely changed it so you can barely even recognize it and no one can access it. Pretty odd, because right before that, he was happy for people to see posts like this and posts like this. So what's the issue?
Well, and he had even done a video regarding our new MP, Ned Kierick, who is sponsoring our longest ballot petition for us.
Right. And he was satirically commenting on it and making fun of it, which, you know, that's your right, but that's going to attract some attention. So you have all the attention that you need now. This is a prime time to be able to talk about your protest and talk about what you want to accomplish with this. If it was actually a real protest, and if you were doing everything above board. Now, that video that we actually showed from Thomas, something happened to that as well, because we always include all the links in our description, and when we went back to look, something happened. You'll notice here that the video is now unavailable, so nobody can look at it. What's the problem? It's a message from the official agent. Should be no problem in that video. Unless there is, folks. Unless there is. And there is a big problem in that video, in our opinion. And that's where he says, we need you to sign up. And then right after that, he says, we already have your signatures.
Well, and that's why we forwarded it to Elections Canada, because to me that sounds like a red flag, but I'm not where the buck stops with this, right? It's Elections Canada, so that's why we sent the information to them.
We want an investigation. Canadians want an investigation. And this is why. So, as we were contemplating this email that we received from Kieran, the next day, less than 24 hours later, we received another email from him. So, the first email was around 6:30 in the evening on Saturday. This one was at 5:36 p.m. on Sunday, and all it says is, reminder. We received this email on Monday, which was Kieran's deadline that said reminder.
So you'll see that we received the email at approximately 8:30 in the morning on Monday, which is in the Eastern time zone. We were in Ontario, which means Kieran would have sent it around 7:30 his time.
So to ensure that our understanding of what we put together in our content was correct, we of course consulted legal counsel, and our legal counsel viewed all of the videos all in one shot and then agreed with us that no, this is fair comment. This is public interest. You're not calling him anything. You're calling attention to the issue and you're asking for investigation. So he decided to put together a reply to make it clear what our position was to Kieran. From our lawyer, James Kitchen. Good day, Mr. Shukevich. I write as counsel for Northern Perspective. I am in receipt of your email below. Your suggestion Northern Perspective has somehow defamed you is without merit, as is plain from a review of the relevant videos, and as is evidenced by your failure to identify any specific statements that may meet the legal test for defamation. As such, Northern Perspective will not be removing any content, and, in fact, will likely continue to produce similar content. With respect, I suggest you consider availing yourself of legal advice prior to issuing vague allegations followed by meritless demands. Regards, James S.M. Kitchen.
Man, it helps to have a lawyer who knows what he's doing.
Well, and this is why we try to verify facts that we have, and we try to ensure that when we don't have a solid foundation of fact, we either identify it as opinion or we make sure that we're appealing to somebody else to actually conduct an investigation to see what, if our understanding is actually correct. And this is all in the public interest. Elections are in the public interest. Commentary on elections are in the public interest. And the other thing is, everyone on the longest ballot, they are stepping out as a private citizen into a new arena, which is the public arena. And in Canada, when you're a public figure, you are allowed to be scrutinized even more than a private citizen is, because you are stepping into the possibility of public service. So when you're choosing to run, when you're choosing to participate in the electoral arena, you're opening yourself up to even more scrutiny. And how you conduct yourself in the elections is up for scrutiny, no matter who you are, no matter what party you are, even if your party is a non-party, which is the longest ballot committee.
Well, and our elections are such a fundamental part of our democracy that this is of public interest. And that's why we speak about this particular issue, especially with the longest ballot committee. Canadians deserve fair elections. Canadians deserve to be able to cast their vote unimpeded. And we want to shine a light on all of this.
Now, we received one more email from Kieran in response to this email from our lawyer. Hello, Mr. Kitchen. Please pass on my request to your clients to not make any more videos falsely and maliciously implying that I committed criminal acts during the Toronto St. Paul's by-election in 2024. Kieran. So none of this is malicious. Just want to get that out of the way right now. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're making it difficult for other people to actually exercise their Charter 3 rights in this country, we are going to do a video on it and we're going to call it out, because that's potentially a serious breach against their Charter 3 rights. So nobody should be surprised when we're actually trying to shed a light on this.
Well, and further to that, the evidence that we used in the video was posted publicly, or perhaps not even publicly, because the video was initially unlisted, but it was posted to the internet by the longest ballot committee themselves.
Well, and the picture of them holding up these forms, that was public. That was on their Twitter profile.
I think it still is.
So the question is if that video wasn't a problem, if the profile of Donovan Ekstrom wasn't a problem, where are they? What's the problem? Why would you remove them if there's nothing to worry about? There's nothing to see here. That's the question. And it's a question that we want Elections Canada and potentially the authorities to answer for Canadians.